Welcome back, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
We are back on your podcast provider and YouTube, and you can watch, as we said on the last episode, you can watch our hair grow out if you'd like on YouTube as we talk about these topics. Today's topic is the kids need to move and shout.
Yeah. Is that so hard? I know you're working from home. Okay, I know, but I think you still gotta let your kids be kids, so let them talk and let them run around and interrupt your little Zoom meetings.
I was doing professional development yesterday. And I had I don't know, about 60 people on Zoom. So I have multiple pages, right, on my computer screen of people. And I'm watching them, with their kids coming and sitting on their laps and waving to everybody. And the kids are all there. And I have to tell you.
Let it happen. Just
let it happen.
Let it be. This is what life is like at my house. Okay.
I recognize that when I'm on calls with administrators and stuff, it isn't necessarily practical to let that happen through the whole call or at all.
Right.
So right. I think here's what we need to remember. The typical preschool day, a high quality preschool day, has a combination and a balance between teacher-directed activities and student-directed activities. It has a balance between children being passive and children being active. And in some way, we need to find that balance at home too, because the children need to be able to move and yell and shout and be loud for part of their day. So you've got to figure out, how can I set a routine maybe that allows for that?
Is a routine. Because I understand, like, you are an adult and you are working at home, so you don't want your child screaming or yelling or singing in the next room when you are at like a Zoom meeting, okay, with your boss, say. But so make sure there is room in your day to be able to have that happen at your house, and it might be like, okay, I need to be on meetings from 9 to 10. So from 10 to 10:30, we're going to be active and running around and having fun and moving, and then go back into like, okay, now's your passive time, now's your time to work on your schoolwork or whatever it is. But like, allow it to happen. But I also feel like if that does happen during your Zoom meeting, as strangely crazy and unprofessional it might seem, I think you just gotta let it happen, because this is different times than normal people. Okay, we're in the crisis now. So as you guys know, my dog pops in here all the time. That's my life. He pops into my Zoom meetings during school too. He barks, he does whatever. That's just the nature of it now. So allow a little bit of it to happen, I think. And I think if you're an employer who's mad that somebody's dog or kid is talking in the background, I think you need to loosen up a little bit. Just a little, not the whole day. Not the whole meeting.
You just told people to loosen up. That's so fun. Oh, ouch.
Because I am not a loosened up kind of person right now.
Oh my gosh.
When my dog walks into my Zoom meeting, and seriously, he has, when my superintendent was on, and I'm just like, hey, here's Rusty. Like, what do you want me to do?
Well, you know what though?
Like, I can't help it.
One of the greatest features of Zoom is the mute. Just, you can mute yourself.
Mute your kid. Mute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Mute yourself if your child is singing or crying or whatever it might be happening at your house. Like, sometimes I can't mute myself because I'm the teacher and I'm presenting. But
I've muted the people. I've muted people I've been on Zoom with. If there's a lot of background noise, I will tell, like, I'm on with adults, but I will tell people I'm going to put everybody on mute just because there's a lot of background noise, and you can unmute yourself at any time or type in the chat. And when you're on with students, you have a mute all on what you're using. Use it if you need to. But I think, like, if families are doing remote work, I get there are times where you have to concentrate, but it's sort of akin to a preschool schedule, where you say to kids, I will let you run, shout, and freely play when I'm done doing this. It's kind of like when we would say, you can run, shout, and freely play after small group time is over. Right. And the kids learn small group time is the teacher's time to be in charge and to say how it's going to go. And free choice time is the children's time to be in charge and say how it's going to go. But even then, free choice in a classroom is not a free for all. There's still structure around it. So you can say to kids, all right, you can go and you can freely play and make all the noise you want over here. Right now, I need to be on the computer over here. And you can draw those boundaries.
Right. Like, and maybe if you are working from home, you have an area in your house, I'm sure, that is your work from home area. And maybe you say to your child, like, hey, daddy and mommy, when we're here, when we're sitting in this seat or we're in this room, you need to be quiet. But when we're out, then you can be loud. You know, create some sort of boundary at your house, you know, because it's not a free for all at school all day long. You know, it's not. So like, be like, this is the time that we'll do that. This is the time we'll be active. But during this time, I need you to be quiet, you know, and I think that's reasonable. That's what they're doing at school. You know, it's not any different than school, what a teacher would say at school, you know, so make the boundary. And then if something does happen, like it's out of the blue, like, you know, then just attend to it as you can, but like, or mute or whatever you need to do, but like make the boundary so that first off, the kids have a little bit of structure, and then they know like, okay, if I'm quiet for this 15 minutes, then I know daddy and mommy are going to let me be loud and dance, like, you know, in a half hour, you know, and then they learn to expect it. Like, okay, if I can do this, then I get to do that, you know?
I also think taking a break from work, if you can, taking a break from work and playing with your kids is going to be good for your soul.
Yes, it will be.
I think walking away, I, like many of you, have now spending endless days on my computer screen, staring at my screens in my chair, not moving. And I realize it's not good. The other day I took a break. I don't have young children here, but I took a break and I walked over and just stepped out on my porch for a breath of fresh air for a few minutes. And it felt so good. Get up, have a quick dance party with your kids, put on some music, dance around, shout, dance around, and then go back. And they'll be better able to go back. We know that from our preschool classrooms. What do we do when they've been sitting for a long time? We put music and we dance and we sing and then we go back.
That's pretty much what my day has become. Is like, as soon as I'm done with my first Zoom meeting with my kids, I close my computer and I immediately take my dog outside. Like, because I'm like, I need to go for a walk. I was just on the screen for a half hour. I need to go outside and get fresh air and be active for a little while. And I do that for a half hour. And then I come back and then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to be back with the kids. Now I'm ready to go back to work, you know, and then I work for like a half hour and then I do the same thing all over again, you know, and, or like I get exercising at I do something that's active because I don't want to be sitting all the time. But also, like, it's good for my brain. You know, it's good to move for your brain. It is. And it's good for kids to move for their brains.
And what's more uplifting than giggling with your kids? What's more uplifting than that? If you're feeling overwrought, come on, play with the kids for a little bit and giggle with them and tickle them and whatever it is. And get to laugh together and then go back to work. But please recognize they can't go. I know teachers are telling me that they're hearing from families that kids are mostly being told to sit down and be quiet when their parents are working at home. And that's so hard for them. It's not good for any of you.
It's not.
Break up that time if you can. Break it up into segments and a routine where they know they begin to learn, okay, they're going to work for a little while and I need to play over here quietly for a little while, but then we're going to run around and jump and yell and scream, and then we'll go back to playing quietly. You have to have sort of a pattern of, like of active, passive, active, passive. That's what we do in preschools, folks, and it works. They're better able to sit and pay attention and be quieter if I have given them the opportunity to be loud and mobile.
Right.
So we know this from preschool, and I hope you can institute this sort of pattern and routine at home because the kids need to move and shout.
Yeah. I was just thinking when you were saying like, oh, it's good for your soul to giggle and dance with your kids. And I was thinking like that from like a kid's point of view, like as crazy as this time is, and it is crazy, I think there's going to be a lot of really good memories that the kids have of this time. Like,
I hope so.
You know, like, hey, this is the time that I got to see my daddy work. I got to see my mommy work. I got to see what she does. But then I also got to see my mommy and daddy be like silly and let go, you know, and it was just like, we just chilled out and we just watched movies or we danced with dance parties or pajama parties or whatever it was. Like, I think there's like a lot of like really awesome like family memories that like 20 years from now, like these kids are going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was so much fun. And we're like, oh my God, this was so stressful. And they're going to be like, this was so great. You know, like it was great. It was like the only time we ate dinner together and like didn't rush around. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy because it is a crazy time. I'm not saying it's not, but I do think there's a lot of really awesome memories that you could create as a family, or new family traditions that you might want to have. Like, you know, like, hey, if you let mommy and daddy work all day, hey, tonight we'll have pizza and we'll watch a movie together. You know, like it could be like anything. Like if we do this, we'll have a dance party later. Like just make it part of the routine so the kids expect it. So like when you say, hey, no, now's your time to be quiet, they know that the quiet isn't going to last forever. They're like, okay, yesterday he said that, and then he did a dance party. Yesterday she said that, and I got to go on my bike ride or whatever. Like, so then they're like, this is just part of their normal structured day. Like, this is just what we do. Like, and I'm going to get rewarded for letting my mom and dad work, you know?
I also think that the children are seeing you stressed out, and they're seeing adults exhibiting emotions that they're not used to or not comfortable with adults exhibiting. So we need to balance that with joy. We need to balance anxiety and fear and sadness with joy for them. They need to know there's still, happiness is still a thing, right?
Yes.
So if what makes you happy is playing with your kids, getting them to giggle, whatever makes you smile with your kids. In addition, I know that it's so hard now for you to not be stressed and for kids to not see your stress, whatever your situation is. But I think we also have to remember they have to see you smile. They have to, that gives them such confidence.
Yeah, they have to know that like, even though times are tough, like we're still a family and we're still happy together, and there's still reasons to be thankful and joyful but we're here together, we're in it together kind of thing. And I think when they see you all stressed out, which they might be seeing you stressed out, you know, I mean, as much as you try to hide it, it's still there. You're not fully hiding it. They're not.
None of us can in this situation.
You can't do it. I mean, you're trying your best to, but like, and sometimes I think like maybe kids need to see like, okay, this is a hard time. Let me see how my parents deal with this. You know what I mean? And then they'll learn from that, you know, so that when times are tough in their life, they'll be like, hey, yeah, but we still persevered and we still did it. You know what I mean?
That would be so nice.
Yeah.
Right. We were resilient. We persisted.
Yeah.
We're in it together. We're a team. We can, while we may sometimes be crying or stressed out, we can still laugh together.
We can still
There's
laugh
still
together.
joy in life.
Mm-hmm.
What else is left to do, Allison, for all of us, but try and grab onto tiny little moments of happiness and joy, and moments that take our heads out of this, right? Moments that, if I think a big gift for me right now are those tiny little moments when I forget the enormity of what's happening because I'm connecting with a friend or a relative and we laugh together. I think that's really very helpful. We know that that's really very helpful, and it's helpful for kids too. I know so many people are stressed out. You know what I'm finding, and I think it's true for many remote workers, that I'm spending actually more work hours now than I did before for a variety of reasons. I could be on this technology from morning to late at night if I didn't take breaks and stop. And my personality type is, you know, it's hard to do that. And I'm realizing that I need to figure out a pace that keeps me sane. Those of you who are home with your little children and they're driving you absolutely crazy, and I understand that. I understand that at this point. I want to submit this to you. I would give anything to have my children here, and they're not, because they're young adults and they live on their own. They live other places. And literally I would give anything to be in your shoes right now with them being young kids driving me crazy. So, you know, I think that everybody's got their own struggles in this and their own perceptions. And I hope that while they're driving you out of your minds, you remember what a gift they are to have in your homes right now.
Right. So like those times that your husband's driving you nuts, just think of me. I'm by myself. So I have no one to talk to when I'm upset, which is why Cindy gets many text messages. But think of that. Like I'm here with, it's just me and my dog. So this morning, my dog, if he annoys me, I'm like, I have no one to help me. Like I have no one. So I have no one to talk to about like the anxiety I'm having or the upset I'm having. So like, think of that.
And it's very hard to take our thoughts away from it.
Oh my God, I can't turn my brain off. Like, I almost wish I had somebody to talk to about it so I could get it out and be like, okay, no, I got it out. And I don't. So it's like constantly just going in my head. And like, this week was my spring break. So I was like, no, make a point to not like stress yourself out. And I think I kind of did that, where I was like, okay, no, I was able to read a book a little bit. I was able to play with my dog and forget about it for a little while, which I needed. I need to know like life's still here. It's not just all consumed, even though a large part of it is consumed by this big like fear of the virus and whatever. I could still have moments of like happiness and joy and fun, you know what I mean? And that's what life is. Like, if I didn't have that, I'd be like, what's the point?
And kids need that. And kids need that. They need happiness and joy and fun and laughter and exercise and moments to just squeal and be kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So please try to moderate in your day. Like we said earlier, I guess, Alison, a good summation is you need a routine where they go in and out of passive and active.
Yeah.
During your lunch break, have a little dance party during your lunch break.
Yeah.
Dance parties isn't it on, do you watch Grey's Anatomy, Alison?
No.
Okay. So in Grey's Anatomy, the characters would dance it out when they were stressed or frustrated. They used to look at each other and say, all right, we're going to dance it out. And they would put on music and dance like crazy. Those people who are listening or watching us who watch Grey's Anatomy, you know what I'm talking about. They would do a really quick dancing it out. I think we all need to dance it out now. We need to just get up and be a little crazy and have our kids do that. And when the weather permits, step outside with them, get some fresh air.
Yeah.
I believe it's still okay. Even if you're in a stay-at-home order, which sometimes I'm frankly, a little confused about. I understand we're still able to take walks. There are some parks that are still open.
But it's so confusing. Like, just
confusing.
all get on the same page at this point, please.
Yeah, please. Just get us all. Everybody needs guidance. I don't
understand. Like, my town parks are all closed, so I can't take Rusty to any town
ours are not.
Ours are closed. Yet the state and county parks are still open, but I would have to drive to them, which would be unnecessary travel. So I don't understand. I don't get it.
I don't quite understand it either. But I think isn't the key like stay 6 feet from people and wash when you get back? Isn't that so far the key? So
right.
All right.
Whatever.
That and quick, make some face masks out of leggings like I was doing last night.
Well, I feel like it's so confusing because for weeks they said don't wear a mask, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, you should have been wearing a mask.
Our advice at this podcast, the advice of children need to move and yell, is not changing. That's solid. It's not going to change from now to the time this is over. Yes, yes, definitely. So we hope that you'll think about that, especially during what is now for some people, remote work week. If you have been laid off and you are not working, take joy in your children's shouting. Take joy in that. They are children have a crazy way, even when they're anxious, of just sometimes getting into that fantasy world that they have and being free. Just watch them be free.
Just watch them. Yeah.
It's amazing. All right, folks. I think that's it for this episode of How Preschool Teachers Do It. Send us your ideas, your perceptions, things you've done. Go to our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. Like our Facebook page, How Preschool Teachers Do It podcast. Connect with us. We love hearing from you. We have a long, long list of people connecting. And
it's great.
It is great. And we hope to catch you on another episode of... We keep coming up with things in the other episode. With another episode of Cindy and Alison Do Stay at Home.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
Stay home. Save lives.
Bye. Yeah. Stay safe, preschool peeps.
Bye.